Congressman Mike Gallagher is a member of the House Armed Services Committee and joins me now. Congressman, I don't like the sound of this. Declining military capability in the middle of a war, that's not something we want to hear, now is it?
No, and if you dig into the data from this excellent report from the Heritage Foundation, the story is actually worse because the services that are performing the worst, the Navy and the Air Force is graded as very weak, are precisely the services that are going to be center stage if we find ourselves in a conflict with China. That's a maritime theater. That's an air theater. So this is bad news, and the Biden administration's defense budget would make this much worse. They're proposing to further cut the size of the Navy to 280 ships by 2027. That is, of course, the target date the Chinese military has set for taking Taiwan. They're going to cut 1,000 aircraft over the similar time frame, and their woke agenda is driving people in droves out of active duty. So we're entering a very dangerous period, a window of maximum danger. And if we're not careful, if we don't wake up, we're going to find ourselves in a war that we're not prepared to win right now. We need to abandon the woke agenda domestically and stop projecting weakness internationally.
Got it. One more subject for you. If your party, the Republicans, if they win in November, are you going to limit military support for Ukraine? You sit on the House Armed Services Committee. If you win in November, it'll be a Republican who chairs that committee. Some Republicans do not want to give full support to Ukraine, push them towards a negotiated settlement. Where do you stand?
I think we should continue to provide them with lethal assistance, particularly the ATACMs that the Biden administration is dragging their feet on. Here's where I think we have an opportunity to bridge the gap within the party. We have a provision in this year's defense bill that would require a full audit of all of the aid we've sent so far. So we should dig into that. We should understand what's working, what isn't, where is there waste that we could eliminate. Secondly, we should demand that our European allies step up and do more. We can't do everything ourselves. We need the Germans in particular to fulfill some promises. And then going forward, we need to completely rebuild our munitions industrial base. The fact is, we just don't have the productive capacity domestically to produce key weapon systems. And in many cases, the components of those weapons, the so-called energetic materials, are single-sourced or sole-sourced to China in many cases. So we need to rebuild Freedom's Forge, our entire defense industrial base. And that I see a lot of unity in the Republican Party going forward.
If you win in November, the Republicans win, you got to spend a lot more money on the military. That's what you got to do. That's my personal opinion, and I think you share it. Congressman Gallagher, thanks very much for being with us, sir. We appreciate it, always.